Yo, what's up people, how's it going? It's Sunnyman here with another video game review. Today we'll be taking a look at the new indie stealth game, Aragami.
Story.
Aragami has you take on the role of a shadowy, vengeful spirit. A woman known as Yumiko has summoned you through an ancient ritual to avenge her people and to rescue her from the clutches of the evil wielders of light, the Kaiho. She instructs the Aragami to obtain talismans which have sealed her away. As the Aragami obtains the talismans taken by the Kaiho, Yumiko and the spirit begin to share fragments of memories, leading to the Aragami to pry further into what has happened before, who she is, and what will happen to him once the night is over. The story's general focus is on the aftermath of a long war between the forces of light and darkness, which the light has won. It questions if vengeance can be justified and who is really on the right side of a war. There are 13 chapters in all, which took me around 6 hours to get through. When developing an indie title, your idea for a game will come from a few certain places. For example, you might think, hey, I want to make a game where you can do this and this. And then you develop your game specifically for certain gameplay elements. Or you might have a great story and think, man, this plot is awesome, I want to make a game around this. And then develop a game for the main purpose of telling a story. For Aragami, the idea for this game definitely came from the former. The plot is stiff and not the most exciting fiction out there. It's usually just used as a tool to give the player some reason to be in a level and grab the various objects floating around. It's definitely not the worst story out there, but it definitely is nowhere near the best and nothing memorable. I feel the background and history of this world could have been expanded on more to invest me in the plot, but as it's presented, it's just a little middling.
Gameplay.
The majority of each chapter's objective in Aragami can be chalked up to going to a place and activating something, going to a place and grabbing something, or just going to a place. The challenge in the game comes from getting through each area with the many guards stationed about. If you're spotted, it's usually game over for you as one hit from a guard shatters your form instantly. Keep out of the way of the guards, kill them if necessary, and stick to the shadows to find your way to the objective. To move around, you can run, crouch, and walk, and also teleport into the shadows. Teleporting is pretty much your main form of transportation, as it's the quickest, the quietest, and absolutely necessary to do when you need to get up to higher areas since there's no jump feature. The controls can be a bit finicky when trying to teleport, as sometimes the hotspots for an area can be oddly specific since you can only teleport into the shadowed areas. I was using an Xbox controller for my playthrough, and a few times I did have to grab my mouse after getting annoyed I couldn't hover over a pixel-perfect area. The range is also pretty short, keeping a few shadows out of your reach, but that usually isn't too big of an issue, as enemies will take a moment to notice you while you're crouch walking. You also have various moves you can upgrade the Aragami to obtain, but I never took the time to use any of the special abilities, and I just never ran into an issue with it. With your special moves, such as the Shadow Teleport, you can only perform it a few times until you need to wait for your Shadow energy to recharge. The developers wanted to keep a lot of focus on the game, so there is no UI while you're playing. Instead, your current energy level is displayed on your character's cape. It gets annoying when many times throughout your game your cape will get glitched onto your character, so it becomes very difficult to see your current charge levels. In practice, it's not a huge detriment, since you can quickly charge your power once you get back into the shadows, and then it becomes untangled once you teleport again. It's also possible to complete a stage without killing a single enemy, but killing is made extremely easy in this game, and there's not much punishment besides a lower score. You can also kill every single person in a level for another achievement, however I feel that's just going out of your way to be spiteful. The gameplay in the end is very fun and engaging, and definitely fits well into the stealth genre. I enjoyed playing Aragami. It flows well and is pretty straightforward most of the time. Besides, maybe one boss battle is always fun to play.
Graphics and design.
The graphics in Aragami are decent for an indie title, and the overall design is very nice. The atmosphere of this game comes from a cartoony Team Fortress type design with some Tenchu stealth assassin and a feeling of Dishonored thrown into the mix. I really enjoyed how the game felt. A few levels did feel a little bit cut and paste, but they were very good for the majority of the playthrough. For the in-game characters and models, at most times they look pretty good. However, during cutscenes, the stiff animation and a general lack of interestingness keeps it rough around the edges. Some levels could use texture improvements as well. I understand for this kind of cel-shaded art style, textures are usually going to look pretty basic, but this mausoleum you go to, for example, just looks like it was made in Minecraft. The graphics aren't groundbreaking AAA title quality, but what the developers were able to eke out of the Unity engine are good enough for this game. It's spurred on by its good art direction as well, keeping it pretty to look at. A few caveats are sticking around, however, as some textures and models can definitely be improved, levels can feel a bit claustrophobic at times, and it's easy to mistake what constitutes as a shadow in some stages. Aragami can't be faulted too much for how it looks, but there are definitely a few areas that could have seen more refinement.
Conclusion.
Aragami is a fun little stealth game which you can definitely enjoy if you're into the genre. A few hiccups here and there don't greatly detract away from a fun, tactical, and engaging experience. Aragami is pretty easy once you get the hang of it, besides maybe 2 or 3 moments in the game, but trying to speedrun this turns into another challenge in of itself and extends its appeal a bit further. There's not much in the way of story or anything much deeper than just some gameplay, and I would be surprised if it was your game of the year, but Aragami is great to pick up and play if you need to scratch a stealthing itch. Kill some motherfucking goblins.
Fuck yeah. Fuck these goblins.
Ow! Bitch. Sorry, I love you.
They don't.
Nah, I didn't.
Well, slow down.
That's because you add too many magic stuff. Oh shit, it's slippery.
Look at that sweet water texture.
Oh, you got, oh, I didn't. Checkpoints for